talk show. My name is Panashe Batamoto, but you can call me the Dynamite. And today we'll be discussing on the Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1977. And we are saying that this act was made during the colonial era, but time has progressed. Things have changed, and has it been really addressing the needs of the young people? And joining me in the studio are our beautiful guests, and they're going to introduce themselves. Starting with you, sir.
Hello viewers, my name is Victor. I am an SRX specialist.
Right.
Hello viewers, my name is Tarisai and I am a law student at UZ.
Okay, and we're saying that this act has been alive for like 42 years in Zimbabwe. And we're looking at the generational changes that have happened, and is it still addressing the needs of the young people in Zimbabwe? So for you, Victor, my first question to you is, what are the reproductive health challenges that young women today in Zimbabwe are facing?
I think the first challenge will obviously come ultimately through either consensual or non-consensual sexual intercourse, and then the consequence of it, which usually ends up in pregnancy. And then when it gets there, then the issue around can a woman in Zimbabwe approach a court to say, I want to terminate a pregnancy? Because that's the criteria in Zimbabwe. You need to go through a court for you to be able to terminate a pregnancy. Then I think comes into the issue of the legal environment. Is the legal environment conducive for young women to approach a court to say, listen, hey, I'm pregnant, but maybe, let's just say within the confines of the law, I want to terminate this pregnancy. Is it actually doable? And then the short answer of that in Zimbabwe is, on paper, yes. But then the reality is it's very, very difficult. And that's maybe something that we need to look into and address.
All right, just for interest's sake, there are circumstances whereby a young woman can actually go for abortion services. Can you please highlight these circumstances in which one can go for abortion?
All right, so it's within three categories. The first one is if the pregnancy, if there's evidence that the pregnancy will cause harm, either to the health or to the well-being of the woman herself. So let's say if this pregnancy will lead to the woman's death, it will lead to her to be maybe disabled in some way, then, legally speaking, a woman should be able to terminate the pregnancy. Secondly, if there is evidence to say that, the quality of life for the unborn child will be, of such a detrimental nature that, bringing this child into the world, will actually be maybe a crime against humanity. So we speak of instances where a child is severely deformed, where there's severe disabilities, that they will have no quality of life whatsoever. Then in that instance, again, the law is not allows for termination of pregnancy. And then three, when a pregnancy is as a result of what we call prohibited sex. So that's where we have issues of incest. So maybe if a father rapes a daughter or has sex with his daughter, a brother and a sister, and within those prohibited degrees of relationships, you can actually legally terminate a pregnancy under those circumstances.
All right, and to you, Teresa, do you feel that as a young person, this act addresses your needs?
As a young person, I truly believe that this act does not fully address our needs. However, it does give provisions for us to actually access abortion. It does not give us a clear guideline or a clear freeness to the act itself. It doesn't provide for us to freely say, I want to, this pregnancy is detrimental to my health, it's detrimental to my future, it's detrimental to my livelihood. It doesn't allow us that. And the fact that I have to go through the courts to actually seek permission to have abortion, yes, it sounds proper on paper, as Victor said, but then it's not a realistic approach. It's not something that is mandated on any protection for the woman or for the girl child. Because the majority of the people that are seeking abortions in this era are young girls that have fallen pregnant due to mistakes or certain circumstances we might not know individually. But then it just bars them to say, if the pregnancy is not going to affect your health, if the pregnancy doesn't come from an incestuous or come from rape, if the child is fully formed or anything like that. It does not allow the girl child to sit down and say, I made a mistake. I do not want this to affect the rest of my life. So the law itself is to some extent retrogressive. It does not come in a progressive manner, and it does, especially looking at the sexual reproductive health and the sex education we receive. The girl child is not taught how to prevent pregnancies. So once she gets pregnant, there's no recourse to that action. And I feel like it's not fair to the girl child, it's not fair to the youth in general, because now we're just trying to say that, okay, you've fallen pregnant, now you just do what you gotta do. And
yeah. And to make matters worse, we are saying that there's limited access to contraception for the young people. I strongly believe that children are by choice and not by chance. And if it happens by chance, I should be given the permission to say, no, I don't want to keep the baby. So to you, Victor, what are the legal processes and procedures that can come into effect to amend this act?
Hey, this one might be a very tricky one. I think given Zimbabwe's cultural and moral standpoint around issues of abortion, because I think this is where a lot of progressive legislation that we could have coming in, this is where we are falling away. This whole notion of, number one, we are a Christian nation, and abortion is not something that's, I think, accepted within the Christian society, and it's also something that I think people would say stems against our cultural beliefs as well, you know. So because of that, we're a very polarized nation when it comes to these things. I think we decide when we want to be Christians. But when it comes to issues of corruption and everything, no, it's not. We're not Christians. But when it comes to issues of sexual health, you know, this is when we are very Christian and aggressive about it. So it's I think the environment in Zimbabwe right now is a tricky one. I don't think it will be something that will just easily sail through, given the public opinion, because remember, public opinion really influences some of these legislation and everything. But I think, you know, with the progression of time, people are also slowly realizing maybe the benefits of some of these things, you know. Maybe the issue with the general populace would be around the willy-nilly abortion of children, to say, okay, now I'm pregnant, I feel like tomorrow morning I'm going for an abortion. You know, I think that's what people don't want to, you know, to get to. But I think when the circumstances are clear, you know, and then, you know, when the courts are effective, that's a very, you know, major role of this act. When the courts are effective, to say that if I approach a court today, under the given circumstances, say I want to abort, you know, the pregnancy that I have, then the court gives me a go ahead, you know, there and then. Otherwise, we've seen a lot of cases where, you know, you apply for a court order today to get a lawful termination of pregnancy. You know, it can only be done within the first 3 months. That's when it's safe. But then sometimes the order is granted after 6 months. So this person is now forced to carry this child. You know, whether the pregnancy itself is detrimental to their health, whether the child will be severely deformed, whether it's out of rape or incest, they're just forced to carry with this child. But I think we need to look beyond that. We need to look into the quality of life in terms of me being able to sustain a child. Because having a child now is expensive. You know, it's very expensive. So do I have the means? Do I have the mental capacity? You know, right now we're talking about a lot of issues of mental health and everything. Am I able, like, am I in a place where I'm holistic and whole enough to be able to look after a child? You know, I think maybe in discussions towards the amendment of this law, we need to look into some of these things.
Okay. And you also mentioned something interesting about, you know, a girl that is pregnant goes to the court, and then actually they say, no, you can have the abortion after 6 months, but then now they can't because maybe according to the, you know, the medical processes and all, you can't do that. So how then can we actually quicken the process to say this person gets pregnant and then they want to abort and it doesn't take time?
Again, it comes down to the effectiveness of the courts. You know, remember, you need to appear before a judge, you know, a magistrate. And I think women typically know that they're pregnant when they're already 4 weeks in.
Exactly.
Thereabout. So a woman is born already. You know, you need to get an order done within the following 8 weeks. You know, but what is the likelihood of that? What is the likelihood of a girl deep in the rural areas approaching a court? Do they first of all have the knowledge that they can approach the court? Can they? Do they have even the financial, you know, muscle to cover the logistical cost of that? You know, Legal service is expensive.
Yeah.
Lawyers are in this profession to make money. First of all, they want to make a living. So what are we saying? I think the law on one end says something, but the reality for the millions of adolescent girls and young women in Zimbabwe is that people simply can't afford get these services.
All right, and yes, viewers, you are still watching the Legal Talk Show as we are discussing on the Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1977, whereby we are saying that this act is still alive 42 years down the line, and what is being done about this act, and also on issues concerning SRX services. As young people, as adolescents, we need to have our rights to say that if I am pregnant, if I need to abort, I should have access to that right.